Abu Dhabi-based real estate investment firm Aldar has just reported first quarter earnings and an increase of 27% in Q1 net profit. It's also just launched Aldar Logistics, buying a 70% stake in the Abu Dhabi business hub. Well, let's unpack some of the numbers with Talal Al Dhiyebi. He's the CEO of Aldar Properties, joining us live from Abu Dhabi for this first on CNBC interview. And Talal, great to speak with you. Thanks for joining us today. Let's just begin on the numbers. Unpack the performance that we saw in Q1 and what are some of the factors that are driving it right now?
Thanks for having me. So it's been an incredible quarter. We saw revenue, gross profit and net profit increases, not only at the group, the consolidated level, but at each one of our business units. So we saw very strong growth in our development business, our highest ever quarterly sales. That includes, obviously, our strategic acquisition of Sodiq and our entry into the Egyptian market. But even domestically in the UAE, the property market has been on fire. We're seeing increased pent-up demand, not only from local investors, but now institutional and, more importantly, international investors. We continue to make significant progress on the delivery of those units. We handed over more than 1,000 units in the first quarter, collecting over 1.6 billion dirhams. And then on the other side, we have our recurring income portfolio, where we've seen the highest occupancy levels at our retail portfolio, at our residential portfolio, and a very, very stable office portfolio, despite the worries that people had in a post-COVID environment. So we're very pleased with the results across the group.
Talal, I think it's fascinating to listen into some of the research reports that we've been seeing on the state of the UAE property market, particularly through the first quarter and for the start of the year. Incredible performance here after years of underperformance. Where is the demand actually coming from right now?
Look, it's not easy. Like in any sector, you need to go after the demand. So COVID has changed consumer behavior. People were looking to upgrade their units. We saw people move from smaller apartments to larger apartments. We saw more demand for balconies. We saw an incredible shift from people moving to multifamily homes to single-family homes, be it either townhouses or villas. There was a huge surge in anything that was beachfront. And luckily at Aldar, we build destinations and communities. So if you look at what we're doing at Yas Island or at Saadiyat, by building around these amazing museums and theme parks, they are the destination to be. So we're seeing not only a migration of people moving from the older parts of the city to the newer parts of the city, but as I said, international buyers. So just to give you a glimpse, in the first quarter, we saw a 25% increase in international buyers compared to the complete international buyers in all of 2021. So Abu Dhabi has come on the map, with some of these, it's amazing efforts both in the region but internationally, and it'll continue to be a place of choice for people to come, set up, live, work, and visit.
And the reason I ask that question is because the UAE has a history of benefiting from international crises. And of course, if you look at the situation with regards to Russia-Ukraine, Russians were actually top purchasers of UAE property before the war and before the sanctions. Talal, are you seeing evidence now of Russian flows, Russian money actually coming into the Abu Dhabi and broader UAE property market right now as a result of the situation playing out in Russia and Ukraine?
As you said, Dan, there's been investments from Russians where they look at the UAE as a place where they have been investing over many years. There has been an increase in the first quarter of the year, both from Russians and Ukrainians, but from similarly in many other markets. We're seeing increases from India. We're seeing increases from Europe. 15% of our overall sales in the first quarter came from international buyers. Obviously, geopolitics plays a role in that, but the UAE reform program, how it dealt with COVID and how it's coming out of this and all the geopolitical tensions around the region as both a safe haven from a security perspective, but also from an economic perspective. And all the government reforms, be it the companies laws or the golden visas or attracting new businesses, are all really starting to pay off quite significantly. And real estate is the natural benefactor to all of those government reform programs.
Well, Talal, it's going to be fascinating to see how things progress and track into the second half of the year. Really appreciate you joining us today. That's Talal Al Dhiyebi, the CEO of Aldar, joining us for a first on CNBC interview. Take care, Talal. Thanks again.